Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but today we're back with my breakdown and fight predictions for UFC Fight Night Canada, featuring number 4 and number 9 ranked Reiner and Brendan Allen. With the first fight of the night, we have debutant Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa. We've seen some WMMA fighters come over and have success in their first ever UFC fight, and I'm kind of banking on that here, not gonna lie. Croden is 6-2 and has experience in the grappling, whereas we've seen Lisboa lose to grappling. She is also taller with a longer reach, and I'll pick her as the underdog, Croden by decision. Next up, we have Asmat Bakoev versus Yusri Balgori. Balgori is a very long fighter, and I could see him having success if he can maintain a manic Bakoev. But Bakoev has been looking very, very, very solid lately with finishes over Ryan Loder and Zach Reese. I think if Bakoev pushes the pace with his grappling and on the get-ups does nasty damage with elbows and hooks against the cage, I think it can lead to a round 2 or maybe even a round 3 TKO depending on how good Balgori's defense is. Same as with the Loader fight, I think it's going to be very similar, against the cage, hooks, just maybe a standing TKO. This is also Balgori's first time in the UFC, so I could see the pressure of Bakoam really eat at him. Moving on. We have Stephanie Luciano versus Ravena Oliveira. I'll go Luciano by decision. She has more UFC experience, and the Sam Hughes loss is a better loss than I think the Tainara Lisboa, who we just saw, was. Plus, Ravena Oliveira is moving down in weight, which could mean that she is being more dedicated to her training camp. But to me, it also means that she's going to have a harder weight cut. So I'm going to go Stephanie Luciano by decision. And next we have Cal Prepolek versus Drew Dober. I don't really understand the matchmaking here. I think they're looking for a hometown hero in Canada, and they got Cal Prepolek, and they're gonna match him in a fun fight with Drew Dober. I could see that, but I don't think he's gonna win. Since Cal Prepolek has joined the UFC, he's looked pretty mediocre to me. And if you look mediocre in the UFC against Drew Dober, I don't think that's gonna be successful for you. I think Drew Dober is someone very tough. So if you're not going to be able to do damage to him, if you can't put him out, he's going to put you out. That's the type of fighter Judober is. And yeah, his record doesn't look the best as of late. But at a minus 480 favorite, he's probably going to get this one done. I don't think Kyle Prepolek is that good. I could see Drew Dober getting a round 3 TKO in this one. And now we have Danny Barlow versus Jordan Santos. Barlow is a taller fighter with a 2-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage, and he's moving up for the first time to 185 pounds, which is pretty crazy. Considering he didn't look too bad at 170 pounds, he just came off a loss to Sam Patterson, who himself is looking really good lately. And on the other hand, I can't really say the same about Jordan Santos. He is coming off a loss to Ozzy Diaz, who's probably the lowest ranked middleweight in the division. And if you're losing to him, what does that make you? Probably the lowest ranked middleweight in the division. So I think Danny Barlow is going to be able to get this one done. I think he's going to be able to keep it at his range and his pace. Maybe he can get a finish in the later rounds, but I think Jordan Santos is pretty tough, so I think he's going to be able to survive. So I'm going to have to go with Danny Barlow by decision. Moving on up, we have Bruno Silva versus Hyung Sung Park. Park is coming off a loss to Tatsuro Taira, which isn't that bad of a loss to be coming off of. And I reckon he can stay safe on the back foot when need be and manage a shorter opponent in Silva. And when it's time to push forward comes, he will, and he will be able to initiate the takedowns. And I think he'll be able to get a submission also. I'd say round 2 sub. But Silva is good and has a good puncher's chance in this one. He's very powerful in his hands. And he's also, uh, since he has his good boxing and strength, he's gonna be able to set the pace earlier on. So Park is gonna have to be careful and be having to survive early on. I think Silva, his grappling isn't the best, but I do think it's manageable in this fight. So Park is gonna really have to work for it. But I do think he'll be able to get a sub, probably round 2 submission if he's that good. If not, it's gonna go to decision, and I think Park will win in control time by decision. And now for I think what's going to be a really fun fight, we have Charles Jourdain versus Dangerous Davy Grant. And Davy Grant has done some serious work in the bantamweight division. And if he gets a win, I'd like to see him fight someone like Kyler Phillips or just any other whatever ranked opponent you can give him. I think he deserves it. Jordan is 10 years younger and is usually taller compared to his other opponents, but in this one he's only gonna have a 1 inch height advantage, whereas the reach actually evens out for the both of them. And if uh, height and weight even out, and all we have to weigh out is skill, I think Davy Grant is gonna be the far more skilled opponent in this one, and I think he's gonna be able to get it done. I think maybe Jordan is the better grappler in this one, but I think Davy Grant's gonna be able to keep it standing. And if it gets to the ground, I think Davy Grant is slick enough to get some sick reversals off. And on the feet, he's gonna do more damage than Charles Jourdain does. So I'm gonna have to go Davy Grant by decision, but a very very close competitive decision, probably closer than the Blackshear one. And now we have Kyler Nelson moving up to fight Matt Frevola in the lightweight division. Both of these fighters are coming off bad KOs. Frivola coming off two really bad KOs. That ZM one was a pretty fun one. A knee to the face, but he got his time off, his time away. Hopefully he's recovered where he needs to be. And I think Frivola is a slight favorite in this one, and I agree with that. I don't think Nelson is gonna be able to chin Frivola in this fight, which is important because I don't think if you can chin Frivola, I think he's gonna give you a very very hard time. And I don't think Nelson's up for it moving up to a lightweight division. Yeah, he's gonna have the lighter man skill. I just don't think he's that skilled himself. He's coming off a couple good wins, but that Garcia one was pretty brutal. So I think I'm gonna go to Matt Frevola to be able to out wrestle him to a decision, or maybe if he's, I think Frevola could get a round two TKOs, but I'm gonna go Frevola with the decision. And now moving up, we got Cody Gibson taking on Arichi Lang, which should be a fun scrap. I don't see Gibson having any success in the grappling, and if that happens, then we'll be left with a pretty fun action scrap in which I'll take Arichi Lang by decision. And next up, in what should be a number one contenders fight, we have the number two ranked Manon Farot versus the number five ranked Jasmine Jasudavicius. Farot is coming off a loss to the champion, and Jasudavicius is riding a huge win streak. However, I see this fight playing out mostly on the feet, where I don't really rate Jasudavicius that highly. I think both of the fighters here have their strengths and weaknesses. However, Jasudavicius' weakness just seemed more potent. I think Farot wins by damage on the feet, but Jasudavicius will definitely get takedowns and some minimal control time. I'm going Farot by decision. Moving up to the feature fight, we have Marlon Chito Vera, where he finally returns to face on Ayman Zahabi, who is coming off his legendary Jose Aldo win. Jose Aldo just retired, so shout out to him. What a legend. Chito Rivera is so experienced in the UFC, and while he has faced a lot of opponents, Zahabi, that is, Zahabi has not faced the same caliber of opponents that Chito Vera has, let alone Chito himself. Zahabi's height is matched in this one, and his reach is outmatched by Chito Vera. Where Chito Vera sometimes stinks up the fight with his nothingness, which I could see him do it in this one as well. I see him doing it just enough to get this one done, actually. So I'm gonna have to go Chito Vera by decision in this one. And what I think is gonna be a banger for the co-main event, we got Mike Malott challenging Kevin Holland for a spot in the rankings. Number 15 ranked Kevin Holland. We've seen a fight similar to this one before, and in that fight we saw Malott look good for 14 minutes and 30 seconds. And I think if that same fight plays out, it's going to be a lot worse for Malott though. I think Holland is a much more dangerous Neil Magny. He's going to hurt you earlier on in the fight than Magny did, and if it comes to a gas tank issue, Holland will easily get a third round finish if Malott isn't prepared like we've seen before. I've also heard Holland talking about the future, so hopefully he isn't looking past the tough competitor in Mike Malott, but I also see that as Holland being dedicated to the sport, which is always a good thing. I reckon Holland gets this one done, so I'm gonna go Holland by decision, where he wins on the back foot with good anti-wrestling. Maybe he pulls off like a ninja choke or a Darce choke, but he mostly uses it for stand-up. Hopefully he doesn't hold on to it and stay on his back for too long, which I've seen him do before. Um, but I think he's gonna have good anti-wrestling and get up and win on damage. Now for what I think is going to be the best fight of the night, we got the main event of Reiner de Ritter and Brendan Allen. RDR opens at a moderate favorite, and is Allen is a slight underdog, and I agree with those odds. Allen has very clean boxing and jiu-jitsu, only lacking in decision making. where De Ridder is a finisher who is looking to fast track his title shot. RDR is huge in this division, and his knees to the body will play a role in this one, especially leading to those later rounds. RDR is pretty much like a light heavyweight in this one, and those knees are so damaging, and they're gonna wear on the cardio heavily. Where I could see Allen having success in the boxing earlier on, and getting more frustrated as the fight goes on. I expect to see very, very fun grappling scenarios and transitions. And with a high pace like that and those big knees, I could see a frustrated Allen make poor decisions later on, like towards the end of the fight, probably around round four, you know? I can see a finish from Reiner de Ridder of a frustrated Brendan Allen making a dumb mistake like round four. He's gonna jump on a submission and he's gonna lose position. And if Reiner de Ridder sees that you're fading, I think he's gonna be able to take advantage of that. I don't think he's gonna get tired himself. Maybe he has a couple of issues in the cardio department, but I think Brendan Allen's gonna look gas towards the end of this fight. He's taking it on short notice, but he has had a long training camp leading up to it where we have seen Allen look, faced Anthony Hernandez in the past, who was also a really good grappler. And I think if you're gonna do some tape study, that's a good one to look at because, like I said, Brendan Allen looks really good in that fight. Same as the Imavov fight, he looked really good in that one as on the feet. He had some moments where he looked good on the ground, but when he looks good on the feet in that one, he shoots a takedown and then he just doesn't make the right decisions when he needs to. And in the Hernandez fight, he was jumping positions when he didn't need to jump positions, and he ended up losing so many times the position. And if you lose the position to someone like Hernandez, you're definitely going to gas out, and he's going to definitely use that to his advantage and get control time over you, in which what we saw. Where Reiner de Ridder, like in the Whitaker fight, we saw that those knees played a huge difference against someone like Whitaker. And Whitaker is a very good striker. I think he's a better striker than Brendan Allen, so I think he'll be able to land those knees just as much. I don't think it's going to be a finish like we saw the Bo Nickel finish, where he just crumbled pretty much to the canvas and just gave up. I don't think Allen's a quitter. I think he's very tough. I think he's got a good chin on him. I don't think Reina de Ridder would knock him out. I don't think he has that type of like persona in him. So I'm gonna go Reina de Ridder by a fourth round submission. And that's going to be the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think. I know I haven't made a video in a long time. I think the graphics look pretty good. My audio probably sucks, but leave some comments if you agree or disagree. I don't have a lot of people to talk to about the sport with, so let me know in the comments. Later.